This conference will now be recorded.
So today is the second session of 19C old architecture, and which is free for all of you guys. So today we discuss about a database administrator, securities and privileges. So we know that whenever DBA wants to perform some task, so he require some specific privileges to operate the database, as well as to do some stuff on operating system on which the database is running. So we control these things by privileges and securities. So for that, we had operating system account, we had administrative user account. So a database administrative operating system account basically is required to perform the task of the database as well as to execute some operating system command. Okay, so depending on the operating system on which Oracle database is running. Okay, suppose to perform Oracle database software installation, so you require some operating system privileges as well as database privileges. Okay, and that's why we required operating system account. And for administrative user account, so what is administrative user account? Basically they have special privileges required to administer areas of the database, like create any table or alter session privileges or execute privileges on packages which is owned by the sys schema. So for administrative user account, we have sys system, sys backup, sys DG, sys KM, and sys rack. Okay, and also we require DBA role. So please let me know when sys backup, sys DG, sys KM, and sys rack is introduced. Can anyone tell me? Any idea, guys? You are not in the mood to tell answer. Did you get my question? Okay, no worries. Sys backup, sys DG, and sys KM is introduced in 12.1, and sys rack is introduced in 12.2. So please remember that. Excuse me. Now, the sys basically, when you create an Oracle database, sys user is automatically created. Okay, and when you create Oracle database, then user system is also automatically created, and it granted with DBA role. And when you create an Oracle database, this sys backup, sys DG, sys KM, and sys rack is also automatically created. And DBA role is basically automatically created with every Oracle database installation, and this role contains most database system privileges. So, if you are granting, excuse me, if you are granting this role to anybody, so please take care of that. And yeah, so as I said, sys is automatically created, and all of the base table and views for the database data dictionary are stored in sys schema, and these base tables and views are excuse me, critical for the operation of Oracle database. So to maintain the integrity of the data dictionary, tables in the sys schema are manipulated only by the database. Okay, so they should not be modified by any other user or any database administrator, and no one should create any table in the sys user. Okay, but storage parameter of data dictionary you can change if required. Okay, and you must as a DBA you must ensure that nobody can connect by sys account. Clear, guys? And system, so system user is also associated with additional tables and views, and internal tables and views used by various Oracle database options and tools, and also never use system schema to store table of non-administrative user. So this DBA should take care of these two schemas. And sys backup, sys DGA, sys KM, and sys rack is basically are the separate user. And sys backup, we know that it is used for backup and recovery. SysDG is used for data guard operation. SysKM is used for transparent data encryption, key store operations, and SysRack basically is used for rack operation. Okay, by connecting to the database by clusterware agent on behalf of Oracle Rack utilities like SRV CTL. And sysrack privileges can be granted to the database user? Second question. These guys answer it. Can we grant sysrack administrative privileges to the database user? Okay, no, okay. And yeah, it cannot. Okay. Now the third, can it use supported in password file? We had operating system authentication, we have username and password authentication, we have password file authentication, we have very powerful internal directory, you can say. So for sysrack, can be supported in password file? No, it is not supported the password file. So this sysrack is basically is used only by the Oracle agent of the Oracle clusterware to connect to the database using operating system authentication. So this will use only operating system authentication. Please remember that. And each of these account basically provide a designated user for the new administrative privileges with the same name. Okay, so you can create a user and you can grant sys backup, you can grant sysdg, you can grant syskm. Okay, so then after that you can connect ram as sys backup, connect ahmad as sysdg, connect gopal as syskm. So like that you will connect to the database. Okay, now DBA role. So DBA role is automatically created for every Oracle database installation, and this role has most of the system privileges. So therefore, DBA should be take care of that when you are assigning DBA role to any normal user. So don't do that. And as a DBA, you often perform special operations like shutting down the database or starting up a database. because only DBA should perform these operations. So the database administrator, the username require secure authentication schemas. Okay, so in that it require administrative privileges. It require operations authorized by administrative privileges and authentication method for database administration, and using operating system authentication and using password file authentication. So can you guys tell me another question? Can we use password file authentication for ASM instance? Okay, no. Suresh is saying no. Okay, yes, 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 no. Okay. Yes, we can use password file authentication for Oracle database instance and as well as ASM instance. When you are using for Oracle database, it is called database password file. When you are using for ASM instance, it is called Oracle ASM password file. Got it, guys? Now we had administrative privileges like sysdba, sysoper, sysbackup, sysdg, sysKM, and sysrack. Okay, so as I said, sysrack we cannot grant to any user. It is specific for Oracle agent, and sysbackup, sysdg, syskm is introduced in 12.1, and sysrack is introduced in 12.2. Okay, so that is the thing. And these administrative privileges basically allow access to a database instance even when the database is not open. So control of these privileges is totally outside of the database itself, and method for authentication database administrator with these privileges can be operating system authentication, can be password file, and can be directory based authentication. Okay, and operating system authentication. So we have the chart. So if suppose any user has a sysdba privileges, so he can perform startup and shutdown operation. He can alter the database. He can create the database. He can drop the database. He can create SV file. He can alter database archive log. He can alter database recovery. He can restricted the session, and it is most powerful administrative privileges. And after that, sysoper comes, and in sysoper you can perform almost everything, except you cannot drop the database. Okay, and also you cannot perform incomplete recovery. So only you can perform complete recovery. Incomplete recovery like until time, change clause, cancel clause, and control file requires. So it requires sysdba. Okay, so that is the difference between sysoper and sysdba. Then sysbackup is basically used for backup purpose. So that is not anything more in that. And sysdg is basically used for data guard, and syskm is used for transparent data encryption key store operations. So this is advanced concept and it will not cover in this workshop. Okay, and sysrack is also for Oracle agent and it is related to rack. That is also not covered. Sysdg is also not covered. Sysbackup is also not covered. Okay, only sysdb and sysoper is concerned in this workshop. Okay, now when you connect with any of these privileges, so you connect with a current schema that is not generally associated with your username. Suppose for this sysdba the current schema is sys. For sysoper the current schema will be, tell me guys, question fifth. For sysoper, what will be the current schema? I am asking experienced guy, not for fresher. What will be the current schema when you have sysoper? Sys, no. For sys DBA be sys and for sysoper is also sys. How it possible? Yeah, guys. Anyone? That is public. Okay. And for sys backup, sys DG, and sys rack, current schema is sys for the name resolution purpose. And for sys KM, it is sys KM. Okay. So please remember that. So whenever you are connecting with as a sysdba, the session user is sys. Whenever you are connecting with sysoper, your session user is public. Whenever you are connecting with sysbackup, sysdg, and sysrack, the session user is sysbackup, sysdg, syskm, and sysrack, respectively. Okay, so that is, yeah. Now come to authentication method. So already I said that authentication method is for account password and operating system authentication, password file authentication, and Oracle Internet Directories authentication. Okay, so you there are several ways to authenticate the database. So we had a non-secure remote connection, we have local connection, and secure remote connection. Okay, so what is that? Authentication method for the database. These method is basically is based on the database DBA, how he want to give the user for the connection. So according to that, DBA should follow. And as I said, sysrack privileges only allow OS authentication, and password file and strong authentication cannot be used for sysrack privileges. Okay, and non-secure remote connection. So to connect to a Oracle database as a privileged user over a non-secure connection, you must be authenticated by a password file. So when password file authentication, the database uses a password file to keep the database username that have been granted like sysdba, sysoper, sysbackup, sysdg, or syskm administrative privileges. Okay, so we will see later on how to create the password file, how to enable it, how to grant the privileges, and etc. Okay, and a local connection and secure, as we can see that we can connect in two ways. If the database has a password file, then you will grant a system privileges, and then you will connect by authenticated by password file. If the server is not using password file, or if you have not been granted a sysdba privileges and therefore not in the password file, then you can use operating system authentication. On most operating system, authentication for database administrative involves placing the operating system username of the database in a special group. So have you heard about OS DBA group, OS Oper group, OS Backup DBA group, OS DG DBA group, OS KM DBA group, OS RAG DBA group? So these are the groups basically belongs to these privileges. Okay, so we had a chart on that. This one. Okay, so operating system groups are created and assigned a specific name as a part of the database installation process. So if you remember, when we are creating a database through DBCA, so we choose DBA, OPER, Backup DBA, DGDBA, KMDBA, RAG DBA. So these are the a Linux user group, and operating system group will be OS DBA, OS Oper, OS Backup DBA, OS DGDBA, OS KMDBA, OS RAG DBA. For Windows user group, naming will be different, like Aura underscore DBA, Aura underscore home name underscore DBA, Aura underscore Oper, Aura underscore home name underscore Oper, like that. Okay, so I hope many are familiar with this, or you are not familiar with this, guys. How many are familiar with these? Not familiar with those OS groups. Okay. So, whenever, suppose you had, I'm just coming back. Suppose you had on one server you have multiple instance, right? And how you will differentiate? So you will create like DBA1 for first instance, you will create DBA2 for second instance. So like that you will create physical user on your database. But right now if you are installing 19C pre-installation package, automatically these user will create a DBA, OPER, and etc. All the kernel parameter setting is also done. Otherwise in 11G we need to create DBA group, we need to create OPER, we need to create backup DBA. Backup DBA was not there in 11G. So these two user DBA and OPER we need to create physically on Linux platform or OEL, Oracle Enterprise Linux platform. Okay. So if you are a member of OS DBA group, you specify as a sysdba when you are connecting to the database. Okay, and if you are a member of OS Oper group, you specify as sysoper, then you will connect and you will get the benefit of sysoper administrative privileges. Same way OS backup dba, OS dgdba, OS kmdba, OS rag dba. Okay, and if you are not a member of one of these operating system, and if you want to connect as a sysdba, sysoper, sysbackup, sysdg, syskm, sysrack, you will get an error. So remember that. Now, how to prepare operating system authentication? So first of all, you will create an operating system account for the user, and then add the account to the appropriate operating system defined group like OSDBA, OS Oper, OS Backup, like that. Okay, and after that you will connect slash as sysdba slash as sysoper slash as sysbackup slash as sysdg slash as syskm. Okay, and for Windows platform you will connect like that. Got it? Now, password file authentication. So you need to prepare your password file authentication. As I said, you can use for database instance, you can use for ASM instance. So for preparing the password file, which parameter we need to set? Anyone? Any idea, guys? Ask WB. 11 kernel parameters till 11G. I'm asking something different and you are saying something different. till 11G we need to set everything. Okay, but after 11G we had pre-installation RPM. If you install it, you will automatically do everything. See, there is a parameter remote underscore login underscore password file initialization parameter. So you need to set this parameter, then it will work. Okay, and that value can be many. Okay, so we will see later. And by default, password are case sensitive. And how you will create the password file? By Aura pwd utility. So this is the normal syntax. Aura pwd file equals to file name format is equal to 12.2. So this format keyword is very important. So what is that? So whenever you are creating a database through DBCA, so DBCA will create the password file, or you have to create the password file? Another questions. We need to create. Correct, Lakshmi. DBCA will create the password file, by dear. Okay, and administrative privileges like sysbackup, sysdg, and syskm are not supported in the password file when the password file is created with format is equal to legacy. This is the argument, and by default 12.2 is the argument, and sysrack we know not supported. And so format can be 12.2, format can be legacy. So when you are using legacy, your other sys backup, sysdg, syskm are not supported. Okay, and whenever you create a database password file that is stored in Oracle ASM group, so it can be shared with multiple instances, or it will create multiple password file. Guys, another question. Quickly, please answer. Yes, perfect, Lakshmi. It will share. Okay, so the password file is not duplicated on each rack database instance. So please remember that. And after that, yeah, done. Yeah, when you set remote login password file, so by default its value is exclusive, and this is a static parameter. So we required startup or restart the database, not a startup, restart the database. And then you can connect to the database as a sys user. And if user does not already exist in the database, then you have to create the user and assign a password. And like grants is DBA to my DBA is the user. So like that, you need to assign the privileges, and then the information will be stored in the password file. Okay, and how you will connect to the password file authentication? So by SQL Star Plus, you have to execute the command like connect username as sysdba, connect username as sysopen, etc. Okay, so another question: if suppose you have operating system authentication and you have password file authentication, so which will come first? Means precedence. Precedence. Which one will we get? Password file, OS, and then password. Suresh, what you have mentioned? Okay, means OS is first, then password file come, right? Okay. What else, guys? OS then password. Okay. Yes, perfect. First OS will come and then password file will come. Okay. Then how to create a maintaining a password file? We had Aura PWD command line argument, and in that we will use remote underscore login underscore password file parameter. So the value should be none, exclusive or shared. Then you must ensure that password is stored in the data dictionary. Okay, so how I will disable the password file? If suppose my password file is there and I don't want to use it, so what should I do? Anyone? Means how you will disable the database password file? What should you will do? Parameter disable? None. Okay. Yeah, any other guy? Remote login password? None. Yeah, perfect. The answer is none. So if you want to disable the password file, so you will set the none, and by default is exclusive. Okay, and exclusive file can be modified, and you can add, modify, and delete user if you are setting exclusive. Okay, and when exclusive password file is stored on a Oracle ASM group, it can be used for single instance and rack. And if you are saying shared password file, if you are setting, then it can be multiple database running on the same server can be used for this. Okay, so please remember that. Can we specify a shared argument for ASM password file? Next. Means we have none, we have exclusive, we have shared. Exclusive is by default, none we need to set it, shared we need to set it. So if suppose you are if you are setting shared, so can it will be used for Oracle ASM password file? That is my question. Guys, answer. Yes. Okay, are you sure? What else other guys? Yes, acceptable to all instances. No, my question is that for ASM password file, can we use shared argument or shared value for this parameter? Remote login password file. No, Naresh is saying no. Okay, yes. Hmm. Guys, these are the basics. No, we cannot share for ASM password file. Please remember. Okay. And if you change the remote login password file parameter from none to exclusive or shared, then you must ensure that password is stored in data dictionary, and the password is stored in the password file for the non sys administrative user like sys DBA, sys open, sys backup, sys DG, and sys KM user are the same. So from 12.2, authentication for the sys user happened using only the password file and not using the data dictionary. So this is another interview questions, maybe for you guys. Okay, so please remember that also. So what is the view to check that for the user who has these privileges and password file authentication? What is the view? V dollar user underscore privileges. Okay, what else? V dollar PWD and file. I want answer to everyone. Let's see. Hmm. Guys, I told you please log in with your name. One guy is waiting for name is not showing. DBA roles underscore pills. Shaista, you are not answering. Okay, Lashmi. Earlier you said something different. Screen is not showing. My screen is not showing. Guys, my screen is visible, right? Yeah. So you have network problem, Shaista. Log out and log in. Yeah. V dollar PW file underscore users actually. So this is the view by you can see the password file member. Okay, and you can remove a database password file if it is no longer needed. You can delete the password file, and optionally you can reset the parameter to none. Okay, whether you are deleting or whether you are setting the parameter to none, you can disable it. Okay, clear guys? Now database utilities. Okay, so database utilities we have basically these are the utilities to help you maintain the data in your Oracle database, and SQL loader and export import utilities. So SQL loader is used both by the database administrator and by other user of Oracle database. It's load the data from operating system files like text file or C file data format into database tables. And export import we had earlier EXP and IMP, that is original import and export utilities, but from 10G onwards we have data pump utilities. So data pump basically is more powerful, and it will use to move the data between one database to another. Okay, so you can move the schema, you can move the tables, like that. You can use this export import utilities. Okay, so what I'm asking, yeah, what is the one line difference between old export import or new data pump technology? What is one line difference? Basic one line difference. For security, new data pump. skill job and attach. Okay. Only two replied performance and resume jobs. Detach and reattached. Okay. Data pump will come with EXP but before 11G it will only EXP that not able to do parallel the jobs. Okay, data pump has parallel operations. Dump file is creating new data pump. Oh, oh, okay. Should I answer or you will search and let me know tomorrow? And tomorrow means next session. Tell me, guys. No, sir. Answer the question. Don't do spoon feeding, my dear. I can answer if everyone wants. Otherwise, you have. Yeah, guys. What you have written. See, when we are using old export import, so on that time files will be created on client side, and when you are using data pump, it will create the files on server side. So that is the one line difference between old export utilities and new export utilities. And because of this, data pump is faster than old one. Okay, so that is the answer of the basic answer for the difference between these two. Got it? I'm not going into that. We have the chapters. Uh, and then we will discuss more in there. Okay, data pump export, I think chapter is there in this workshop, so we will discuss over there. Okay, so yeah, done almost. Okay, so that's it. That is all about the basic things regarding system privileges, regarding security, regarding operating system groups, regarding database operating system groups, and regarding password file authentication, regarding the password file parameters, and what is the value non exclusive shared, and what are the password file privileges we can use. So we discuss minor things. I hope it will help you in your DBA job. Okay, so that's it from my side. Thank you for joining this session. If you have any questions, I am enabling the mic, then you can ask, or otherwise you can type also, so you have both the options.